Mr. McKelvey taught me how to turn the microphone on before I started, but I forgot. So, good morning, or, as they say in Slovakia, dobrý deň. And in case you couldn't tell, I did take Slovak lessons while I was there. Now, if you don't know who I am, you're probably wondering, what the heck is this guy talking about, and what is he doing up on stage? My name is Benjamin Kuzmin, and a few months ago, I presented to you all about a prospective internship that I was going to have in Slovakia. I was going to be going there and working with Mission to the World and with the Gregoires, and, it happened, and I just wanted to give you all an update. But first and foremost, I have to thank all of you for your continued prayer and support. As amazing as a mission-based internship can be, it gets very emotionally taxing at times. I do have slides, okay. I do get it can be very emotionally taxing at times, so your prayers were very much appreciated. But of course, I have to thank you for your financial support as well. Many of you went above and beyond, and I was very humbled by your contributions, and I have to sincerely thank you. Now, while I was in Slovakia, my internship, I did many things, and it's very difficult to try and condense it all into a 5 to 7 minute presentation for a Kingdom Connection. I think they even have a timer up here, so I got to be careful. But anyways, I did 3 main things while I was there. There were 3 main recurring events I worked on. Every Tuesday, we would have English Club for the Slovak children. Every Thursday, we would have English Conversation Hour for Slovak adolescents and adults. And then every Friday, we would also have Conversation Hour for the Roma. Now, as many of you are probably aware, the Gregoires usually do an English camp every year, but for various reasons they weren't able to do it this year. But we wanted to maintain the relationships that we had built with the children in their community, so we decided to do this once a week English club instead, where we would give them practice, conversing with the real live American and using their English, and we would also teach them how to write, and their cursive is so beautiful. I was so surprised to see how great their cursive was. And we would also teach them how to make some American foods like brownies and s'mores and other high sugar desserts. But anyways, we would also have like I said, on the Thursdays, we would have the conversation hours for the adolescents and adults. And we were able to talk with them about some more in-depth topics like finances and the future, your family, and how to plan for vacation. And something really special about both of these events is that we were actually able to host them at the Gregoires' brand new church, which is this yellow building here on the top right. Now, the cool thing about this is everyone in town can see it. It's one of the first buildings you see when you're driving into town. It's right across from the supermarket, and it's also right across from the most important landmark, the McDonald's, which is in the top left. And by the way, that was their first McDonald's they've ever had in that town, and they got it while I was there. So that was definitely really cool. I've never seen a line that long around McDonald's before. But anyways, everyone knows about this building. But in this town, it's predominantly Catholic, right? So if you try and talk to a Slovak and say, oh, I'm Protestant or I'm evangelical, they don't understand. They see you as a sect or as, a cult. And so being able to host these community events at the church building really helped to legitimize our ministry and legitimize our church in the community. And the really special thing that we got to do was the conversation hour with the Roma. And we went to the actual Roma village for that. This was something that was not planned when I was originally coming to Slovakia, but we presented the idea to the Roma, and very surprisingly, they said that they would love to host the English Conversation Hour in their village. So we were able to go, and we were able to teach English to some real pillars in their community, their pastor, his wife, his sons, and we actually had more Roma come to their conversation hour than Slovaks did to their counterpart, which really is an answer to prayer and a real sign of the Holy Spirit working in their town. Because if you don't know, the Roma are descended from nomads, right? And so they have this mindset of living for the day. If they can pay their bills, if they can eat their food, and then they can rest for the day, then they're good, right? So getting them to see the value in learning something like English, something that will take, more than just one day to learn, and something that they're going to have to push themselves and challenge themselves to learn, that's something that we can't do. I see that as the work of the Holy Spirit in their community, which was really cool. My time in Slovakia was very special. This was my 3rd trip going, and so there was a lot of times when I was able to continue building relationships with people I had already met from my previous trips. And let me tell you, it is very scary when you're walking around in a foreign country and someone yells your name on the street and you do a double take. It's like, what? But I would frequently run into kids that I had worked with at the English camp in the previous years, and we had even done some presentations at various schools and taught English at schools while I was there, and groups of children would recognize me in public, and it was very disconcerting. But it's definitely special to be recognized over there, and it's a very accepting experience when that happens. Now, as far as the future and what's going to be happening with the Gregoires, I was their first intern. Their first official intern. And so in the next few summers, they hope to be inviting more interns through Mission to the World. So if you or a loved one, oh geez, it sounds like a healthcare commercial. If you or a loved one have suffered from but anyways, if you're around that age, that college age like me, if you're going into college straight out of high school, or you know someone who is, and they're interested in a mission internship to see what that's like and get experience in the field, direct them toward Mission to the World, direct them toward the Gregoires. They would love to have them. If I do end up returning in the future, it would probably be more in a leadership capacity among other interns. But really, it's too early to tell, right? We can't tell that thing. We can't see that far in the future. So as far as prayers are concerned, please continue to pray for Dan's continued health and stamina for the entire Gregoire family and for the flourishing of their internship program. And as for me, you can just pray for guidance. It's a crazy world we live in, and I could definitely use some direction for the next few years of my life. But anyways, thank you.
He does have a timer. We all have timers. And you did it, man. You did it. But honestly, Benji, I think I could listen to you speak every week. You do a great job. And so thankful for the gifts that God's given you for your ministry in Slovakia. And whatever the Lord leads in the future, you know that this church will be supportive. Let me pray for you, okay?